Today, you will relive 10 historic images of Lincoln, each revealing an impactful chapter of his life and leadership. Photographs you may have seen before, but never like this, restored in color, brought to life through motion, and paired with the events and decisions that shaped American history. Prepare yourself for a journey through time where each image comes alive before your eyes. Abraham Lincoln, president, leader, and the symbol of a nation in transformation. His face is recognized around the world, yet the stories behind many of his most defining moments are still waiting to be told in a different way. Our journey begins in October of 1862. The nation was at a decisive moment, and Lincoln traveled to Maryland to visit the field of Antietam, the setting of a confrontation that would influence the course of the war. In this photograph, he stands alongside General George McClellan and other Union officers. More than a formal visit, this meeting was a chance to assess the situation on the front lines and emphasize the urgency of new action. Just days later, Lincoln would issue the Emancipation Proclamation, a step that redefined the purpose of the conflict and the very meaning of freedom in the United States. Lincoln's visit to Antietam was not limited to a single meeting. He moved through the encampment, speaking directly with officers and soldiers. In this image, taken during the same October 1862 trip, Lincoln stands among Union officers, the canvas tents of the camp behind them. His tall figure, distinct in the black frock coat and stovepipe hat, draws the eye, yet the focus here is the exchange. Words shared face to face, at a time when the future of the nation hung in the balance. A year later, Lincoln would stand not among tents and soldiers, but before a nation seeking meaning in sacrifice. The battlefield of Gettysburg had become hallowed ground. In this scene, Lincoln stands before a vast crowd, his voice carrying a message not of division, but of renewal. A new birth of freedom, he declared, words that reframed the war as a struggle for equality and the endurance of democracy itself. Though short, the address remains one of the most powerful expressions of America's ideals. While Gettysburg gave new meaning to the sacrifices of war, another act of Lincoln had already transformed the nation's cause. Just months earlier, with a steady hand and profound resolve, he signed a document that would alter the course of American history forever. On January 1st, 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This order declared freedom for enslaved people in the rebelling states, turning the Civil War into a fight, not only for the Union, but for human liberty itself. In this depiction, Lincoln sits at his desk in the White House, pen in hand, surrounded by the weight of history. His decision gave the war a new moral compass, one that would shape the nation's identity for generations to come. Beyond the battlefield and the White House, Lincoln carried another role. In the quiet of his home, he was not the president, but simply a father. Shows Abraham Lincoln with his son Tad. It was captured inside Brady's studio in Washington. Here, the tall, solemn president leans close as his son studies an album of photographs. For a brief moment, the weight of the war seems to fade, replaced by the tender bond between father and child. This image reminds us that Lincoln was not only a leader of a nation in conflict, but also a man of deep love and family devotion. From fatherly tenderness to presidential resolve, photographs of Lincoln also reveal the toll of leadership. Perhaps no image captures this more powerfully than his final portraits. This portrait was taken in February of 1865, just weeks before the end of the Civil War, and only months before Lincoln's life would be cut short. The lines on his face speak of the immense burden he carried: 4 years of war, loss, and unrelenting decisions. Yet his eyes still hold a quiet strength, a reflection of resilience, hope, and the belief that the Union would endure. Today, this image is one of the most iconic portraits in American history. This portrait, taken in 1864, captures Lincoln in stillness, away from the battlefield and away from the crowd. Here he appears contemplative, almost weary, yet resolute. It is the calm before the storm of his final months in office. For soon, Lincoln would once again stand before the nation, not in silence, but in words destined to endure. On March 4th, 1865, Abraham Lincoln stood on the steps of the U.S. Capitol to deliver his second inaugural address. The war was nearing its end, but the scars of division ran deep. Instead of triumph, Lincoln spoke with humility and reconciliation. His words still echo through history: with malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds. In this moment, Lincoln offered not revenge, but healing, a vision for a reunited America. Through these images, we've seen Abraham Lincoln not only as a president, but as a man, leading in war, caring as a father, and speaking words that still guide a nation. Each photograph is a window into history, reminding us that behind the legends were real moments, real people, and real struggles. If you want to continue this journey through time, make sure to subscribe. More stories of history brought back to life are coming soon.